This video is brought to you by Squarespace, the all-in-one website builder to launch your personal online brand. November is kind of a dreary month in my part of the world, and so to cheer myself up, I decided to declare November Speckles Month. Over the next 3 weeks, I'm going to show you 3 different ways to add speckles to your pottery. This first method is a good one: how to make your own grog. For making visible grog, you're going to need 2 different types of clay that fire to the same temperatures. I'm going to be using my red stained clay that you might know from my Throwdown series, and just a simple white stoneware. Both of these clays fire to 1240 degrees. So we're going to put away the white clay for now because we need to prepare the red clay. So the red clay is going to be the grog. The white clay is just going to be the base in which the grog is mixed into. The first step is to roll out this clay as thin as I possibly can. Okay, this is about 1 millimeter thick. It's very thin. Next step is very simple. Just let it dry out. We want this to be bone dry before the next step. Dog hair everywhere on me. It's the next day and my grog to be is fully dried out. Now, the reason we dried it out is because in this state, it's the easiest to break it up into grog-sized pieces. So I want you to keep in mind that this is going to produce a good amount of dust. So we're going to be breaking up the grog in a plastic bag, and I'm going to be wearing my respirator during this. Also, it's a good idea to open any windows, turn on your air purifier if you have one, just to reduce the amount of dust as much as possible. Okay, next step is to sieve it, and you can sieve it either before or after firing it, but I recommend before for 2 reasons. One is that if you have any grog that's too fine, like too powdery, you can actually reclaim that. And then the pieces, I know that there's for sure pieces that are too large for grog, so I can sieve those out, put them back into the plastic, and roll them out again. Let's take a little break to talk about today's sponsor, Squarespace. If you've never heard about Squarespace before, they are a website that you can go to create your very own professional looking website. I've pretty much been using Squarespace ever since I started my business, and I still use them today for my own website. There are a few things I love about Squarespace, one of which is their online store, where you can sell physical and digital products just like I do with my printable pottery templates. 2, they have the most beautiful website templates that are extremely flexible, so you can customize them to fit your own personal brand. And 3, you can cultivate a community with their members area, where you can sell memberships to exclusive sections of your website. So head to squarespace.com right now for a free trial, and when you're ready to launch, go to squarespace.com/potterytothepeople for 10% off your very own website or domain. Now let's get back to the video. Okay, thinking about how I can explain to you the mesh sizes I'm going to use, because the sieve I bought, this is just like a flour sieve that I bought from the internet. I'll try and find a link for it if I can. There's no like numbers on here, so it's really hard to know like what the actual mesh size is that I'm sieving at. Like, I've labeled them myself, and so I have my own system. You are just going to have to experiment with this yourself, but I'm going to try and measure them for you. So this one, it's about 2.5 millimeters. So I'm going to do 2 different ones. This is the one that I really like, that I've done before. This pot has that in it. It's less than 1 millimeter, 3/4 millimeter. You're just going to have to experiment yourself to find the size grog that you like. But I do recommend getting one of these, because then you have like more mesh sizes to experiment with. I'm going to start with the largest one, and the stuff that remains on top is going to go back into the bag to be reground. The stuff that goes through is going to then go to the next one. The stuff that stays on top of that one, that's going to be our A mesh size. The stuff that goes through here is going to then go through my finest sieve. What goes through the finest sieve is going to be recycled. What stays on top is going to be this mesh size. That makes sense, I think. It's a little bit of a mindfuck. And then the other thing I really like about these is it fits perfectly into this bowl. I do need to pop on my respirator again because this is when the dust is actually gonna start getting kicked up. Rounds of it and it's pretty much all gone through. I'm just gonna reclaim the stuff that's left over. So as you can see, the stuff floating on top, that's all more or less the same thickness of grog pieces. We're gonna set this aside. This is going to be our thick grog. Okay, so we have our two grog thicknesses. We have our two different mesh sizes of grog, and what's left over, this is powder. Like, you could definitely use this as grog, but it's not like, I've tried using this before and it sort of just like stains the clay, which is also nice, but it's not exactly the look I'm going for right now. So you can either use it as grog or you can reclaim it. If you're doing this a lot, like, it might make sense to have a separate reclaim per color, and then this can go straight back into red clay. Should I do that? I think I'm just gonna put it back into my reclaim cycle because it's not very much and I have too many buckets in my studio already. Okay, last step before we can mix our grog into some clay, so we need to fire it. Now, we are just going to fire our grog to the same exact temperature as you fire your bisque, because most grog, that's exactly what it is. It is just bisqued clay. So these are already bisqued. Just gonna pour my grog in. And I'm gonna bisque these. My normal temperature is 900 degrees Celsius. See you on the other side. Okay, now that our grog is bisqued, you can use it however you want. You can wedge it into some clay and use it for slab building. You can throw it on the wheel. Literally anything you want to do with this, you can do with it. So I think I'm gonna throw some things on the wheel. Got some pretty cool results here. I friggin' love how the red looks. I did also make a second grog, a sort of bluey gray grog. It's just a magical, colorful cup. Make sure you stay tuned for next week. It's going to be chapter 2 of Speckles Month. We're going to be making speckles with glaze. Very exciting, something I've never tried before, so I'm really excited. If you're coming from the future, I'm going to post it later right here for you to watch. But if you're watching in the present, stay tuned. Next week, same time. See you then. Bye, friends.